everybody, welcome to the Buttermilk Box. This is Chef Terry. Today we're going to be doing something really special. We are going to be making Muscadine Jelly. This is, if you're not familiar, you Yankees, this is a Muscadine grape. Little bit of history and semantics. This is a Muscadine grape, but so is this. These are, though, referred to as scuppernongs. A scuppernong is a type of muscadine, much preferred, I assure you, by many people. They have more floral, really interesting, delicious flavor. Muscadines don't fall far behind. So, what we need to do is get everything together. The process actually is very quick. You're going to need at least probably a 5-quart. I have an 8-quart pot here. I have it on my induction burner because I lucked out that way. You have 5 pounds of grapes and you have 3 pounds of sugar. I have a pouch of liquid pectin at the ready. Instead of using lemon juice or a lemon, I like to use a little bit of fairly acidic wine. I'm doing rosé today because that's what I've got. A pinch of salt, and if I need it, I'm going to use just a teaspoon of rose water, but that's just if I need it. I have my, what do you even call this thing, Mom?
Hot water bath.
A hot water bath. Yes, my mom is here. She is the one that has helped me make, I've made 2 batches already, so I know what I'm doing at least. So I have hot water bath so that we can seal those jars. I have my jars ready, I have my lids ready, all of that stuff. So, the first thing you do, and trust me, this is the fun part, you take your very clean hands and a very clean baking tray and you smash your grapes. You could, yes, put these in the pot and just let the cooking process break them open, but this is the fun part. Someone, not me, had the job of picking all of these. These were a gift from my sister's arbor, her grape arbor in Florida. So I have returned the favor and I'm making enough jellies and jams for everyone. So, just going to keep smashing these. When my tray gets full, I will dump it into the pot. If you are lucky enough to get these grapes, then you'll understand the smell, the aroma that's coming off of them. It's not like a Concord grape. It's nothing like those really insipid table grapes that they sell, the seedless things. This is much better. Okay, so guys, we are back. Our 5 pounds of grape hulls and I was going to say hulls and skins. The hulls, skins, and pulp and seeds are all in this pot. We are heating that up. There's no added water to this yet. I am, though, this is the scary part, 5 pounds of grapes, 3, so I almost said 7, 3 pounds of sugar. Don't stop there, because I made that mistake just earlier, and it needs that amount of sugar to pull out the pectin. If you're like me, I can't use 3 pounds of sugar to do anything. It just seems insane. But it works. And if you don't, then it doesn't work. So that's the big issue. Sugar is an important part of the recipe. If you find a recipe that says something about lemon juice, that also has something to do with the gelling process, but it's just the acidity, it's not the lemon part. So I'm getting my acidity from wine. I get a lot of things from wine. So this is where we just let the heat do its job. So the reason I'm using an induction burner is because it's so much quicker. So the next thing we need to do is to get our lids prepared. The ball jar lids, mason jar lids, they all have a little orange circle on the outside. We want to get the lids sanitized and we want to get those little rings sticky. So hot water. If you don't have a instant hot water dispenser. Do it on the stove top, but do not let it boil. It just needs to come up where those bubbles are coming up out of the water. So the water that comes out of here is 190 degrees. That is more than fine. Make sure that you have at hand, you're going to need a funnel for this. If you don't have a funnel, then you're going to make a huge mess. And so I say you should get one of those. They're less than $2. Make sure that it is sanitized as well. And nothing will be growing inside. Sorry, my cat's doing something in the background. And now it's a game of wait. So I'm just going to wait for this to come to a nice boil. I'm going to keep stirring, keep pushing down on the skins and the pulp and all of that kind of good stuff. I have not put in my pectin yet because I want to get rid of, we're going to drain, strain, and all that kind of good stuff to try to get these skins and the pulps in, I'll call them hulls again, out. Step one is almost over. What we need to do is transfer what we've got into whatever you use to strain things with. I'm going to try to take out most of the fruit first. To make sure that you don't have any seeds. So pour slowly. Okay, now let's turn this heat back on. Get it to a boil. And we have our liquid pectin. Once this comes to a boil, we're going to put our liquid pectin in. It only has to boil for 1 minute to activate all of that. You don't want to overboil or you will break the pectin. So be careful, look at a timer, all that kind of good stuff. While this is doing its thing, I'm going to give it a taste, see if we can adjust anything. I know it's going to be sweet, so don't be too terribly discouraged about how sweet it is, because remember, when things are hot, the flavors are enhanced. Salt, pepper, sugar, sour, everything is enhanced when it's hot. So when it's nice and cold, right out of the refrigerator, it's going to be a very different thing. And that is extremely sweet, as I knew it would be. But it doesn't have any of that floral quality that I want. So literally, I'm not even going to use as much as I put in the cap. That was probably a 1/4 teaspoon of rose water. Again, if it tastes, if it's too rosy for you, just remember what I just said about those flavors being really muted when they're cold. Let the smell cook out from that rose water before you go in to taste it, or you're going to think all that is rose. So even breathe out, breathe somewhere else. Much better. Okay guys, it is boiling. Let's add our liquid pectin. Right in, stirring as you go. Try to squeeze all of that out. Every little bit counts. If you're using if you're using powdered pectin, what I suggest you do is maybe a little bit more wine, and you just want to bring that pectin, make it a liquid with the wine and add that. I'm not talking about a 1/2 cup or anything like that, just enough to make it liquidy so that when it hits this hot water, it doesn't gel on you immediately, and you just have lumpy, weird jello balls. So, set your timer. Oops. And I'm also going to turn my power down a little bit, because it doesn't have to boil crazy. We do want it to boil that minute so that we can skim it off. If it seems like it's giving you a lot more foam than you expected, boil it a little bit longer. You can boil this pectin for probably up to 3 or 4 minutes before it'll break. but we definitely want to get rid of the foam. So I have a little bowl that's going to be for the foam. I'm just using my big metal spoon again because it's just easier than trying to get foam out with like a serving spoon or a sauce spoon. But with a big, what was this? This is a chicken and dumpling spoon. So I don't know if Mom agrees with me or not. Oh, guess what? I have a little bit of wine left over. So we'll drink that. Hopefully that's going to, that sourness, that acidity will transfer into the jelly as well. So while I'm doing this, I want to take a minute. I know in the beginning of the video I said these grapes came from my sister's arbor in Northwest Florida, but I wanted to say thank you specifically to Denise, my sister. Okay guys, it has been 4 to 5 minutes boiling, skimming off any of the foam that comes up, and then into just a cold, I put it in the refrigerator, a cold ramekin. I put maybe a tablespoon, and we see that it's already starting to gel around the edges, so that's a very good sign. But what I want you to do, just to make sure, give yourself a couple of minutes here, put it in the refrigerator for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, guys, this is our jelly that has been in the fridge for about 5 or 6 minutes. You can tell it's starting to really turn into jelly. So this is where we start filling jars. My jars have all been sanitized. I ran them through the dishwasher on the sanitized setting, so that just brings it up to about 190 degrees for however many minutes. And since these are 1 cup or half pint jars, I'm going to use a 1 cup measure. And what I want to do is try to pour right down into that center, and I'm keeping an eye on where the bottom of the funnel is, and I want to just bring that jelly to that point. And that should give me the perfect amount of headroom. So when things are going on in that bath, we have plenty of room for expansion and then some contraction at the end. And then whatever you have left, just put it in something because you don't want to waste it. Now, we go in here to our really hot water and we get these lids on. Do not touch that ring. Touch the outside, it's fine, but don't touch that little orange ring on the inside. When you get the rings on, make sure that you don't want to tighten them all completely so tight and that you never get them open again, but you definitely want to close them well. Don't go too crazy, because that air, when it's expanding in that jar in the water bath, has to have a place to escape. Just a little bit. So you should see, when you put it in your boiling water, you should see just a little bit of bubbles coming out of your jar. Now if you don't want to go through the canning process, then it'll last in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 weeks without any problems. So now I'm going to transfer this to an already boiling pot of water. So sweet.